You need to stand down right now! This is a direct violation! You won't get away with this! Under authority of the HOA, you need to vacate this property immediately! This property immediately!
The second man stood behind him with his arms crossed, acting like backup. They looked rehearsed, confident, and completely convinced nobody would question them. Unfortunately for them, they picked the wrong house. I listened carefully to every word they said. Their story sounded official at first, but small details didn't add up. Years of police work had taught me to recognize fake authority. Rick shoved a stack of papers toward me, claiming they were official HOA orders. One quick glance was enough to tell me they weren't legitimate. Their confidence began to look more like desperation. I politely asked one simple question about their legal authority. Neither man answered directly. Instead, they became louder and more aggressive. Their voices echoed to the neighborhood as nearby homeowners peeked through their windows. People sensed something was wrong. The situation was escalating fast. Rick stepped closer and warned me that I had one final chance to leave. He believed intimidation would work. He couldn't have been more wrong. That's when I noticed something that confirmed my suspicions. The badge on Rick's vest wasn't issued by any legitimate law enforcement agency. Everything suddenly made sense. I calmly lifted the edge of my shirt, just enough for them to see the real police badge on my belt. Their faces changed instantly. In that moment, they realized they had confronted someone who knew exactly how to expose them. For the first time, neither man had anything to say. Their bold attitude vanished the moment they realized I wasn't an ordinary homeowner. They suddenly understood they had made a serious mistake. Rick quickly changed his tone and claimed it was all a misunderstanding. His confident voice was now filled with hesitation. The story kept changing with every sentence. I quietly pulled out my phone and began documenting everything. Every word, every face, and every fake document could become important later. Their expressions grew more nervous by the second. By now, several neighbors had stepped outside. They weren't cheering for the fake officers anymore. They were watching carefully, wondering what would happen next. Rick made the mistake of reaching toward my doorway without permission. I firmly told him to stop where he was. His hand froze immediately. I explained that impersonating authority could have serious consequences. My voice stayed calm, but every word carried weight. They finally realized this wasn't going their way. Mike leaned over and whispered something to Rick. Whatever he said, it completely changed Rick's expression. They were clearly discussing how to get out of this situation. I contacted the local police department and calmly reported what had happened. I wasn't taking chances with people pretending to have official authority. Help was already on the way. The loud threats had completely disappeared. Now both men stood quietly, avoiding eye contact with everyone around them. The entire neighborhood could feel the tension. Moments later, a patrol car entered the neighborhood. Rick and Mike looked toward the street, knowing their plan had completely fallen apart. Their confidence was gone, and the truth was about to catch up with them. The patrol car rolled to a stop in front of my house. Two officers stepped out and immediately sensed the tension. Rick and Mike suddenly looked much less confident than they had 10 minutes earlier. One of the responding officers recognized me immediately. We exchanged a quick greeting. Before I explained what happened, Rick's expression changed a moment. He realized we already knew each other. I handed over the photos and videos I had recorded from the beginning. Every threat and every fake claim had been documented. The officers carefully reviewed each piece of evidence. The paperwork was examined one page at a time. It didn't take long before several obvious problems became clear. Rick struggled to explain where the documents had come from. Rick tried to change his story once again. Each new explanation only created more questions. The officers remained patient, but clearly weren't convinced. Mike appeared far less confident than before. His answers were hesitant and inconsistent. It became obvious that neither man had expected to face real police officers. Several neighbors volunteered to describe exactly what they had seen. Their accounts matched my recording almost perfectly. The truth became impossible to ignore. The fake officers no longer looked intimidating. They stood silently while the investigation continued around them. The neighborhood watched as their act completely fell apart. Once everything had been reviewed, There wasn't much left to explain. The evidence spoke for itself. I simply answered a few final questions and stepped back. The quiet neighborhood slowly returned to normal. What began as an attempt to intimidate a homeowner ended with the truth coming to light. Sometimes, staying calm is the strongest response of all. If you enjoyed this HOA story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more incredible HOA stories every week. Also, tell us in the comments, where are you watching from?